Gets the ball in a nice position. It's opened up nicely for him. And it's a really well-taken goal. That should do it. It really is the ideal time to strike.
Pro Evolution Soccer is a long-running series from Konami, and to avoid pissing off countless people, I'll stick to the sport's true name, ShoeSphere. Pro Evolution ShoeSphere 2014 was developed by PES Productions and of course published by Konami. And fun fact, it's the very first game to release with the mighty power of the Fox engine from Kojima Productions, which is more commonly known for being used in the upcoming Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. And for this review I'm playing the PlayStation 3 version of the game. So let's find out if it lives up to these words that kill in today's review. Now, story-wise, well, there isn't one. It's a sports game, what do you expect? So don't come in expecting some riveting tale about a young boy from Uzbekistan who grows up to become the greatest and most legendary ShoeSphere player of all time. Although technically you could make that up in your head and play the football life mode or whatever. Speaking of which, PES 2014 has a number of modes as well as plenty of customizable options for your team to pick in the way you play. Everything from exhibition matches, which lets you have a random match with any teams of your choice, to football life. Well, why would they name that football life? What the fuck? Anyways, which lets you play as your own created ShoeSphere player, or even your favorite ShoeSphere players and make them the best ShoeSphere in the sport, or even take control as a team manager and lead them to victory. Next up, probably and in my opinion the most fun and core aspect of the game, competition mode, which lets you compete in different cups and tournaments such as the UEFA Champions League, the Europa League, Copa Libertadores, and the AFAC Champions League, to even online competitions and cup mode, allowing you to compete in different cups including the International Cup, or well, the FIFA Cup, but since that's licensed and all by a certain game, I guess they couldn't name it that. But let's talk about what makes PES 2014 great with the good. One of the great things about PES 2014 is the actual gameplay itself. The game has a bit of a learning curve to it. But once you do learn the controls and different moves and tactics you can use throughout playing this game, you can have some major fun here. The game is simple enough to pick up and play on the lower difficulty settings, which is what I started out on. But once I played the tutorial, I quickly found myself ramping up the difficulty to normal for the AI to actually try and take the ball from me. So all in all, the game can be picked up and play if you want it to be, but if you really want to play it on the intended settings, you'll have a lot of things to master to get good at it. But probably the best thing about this game, for myself anyways, was the player creation system. The player creation system is extremely in-depth and allows you to change up every little detail about your player. I decided to make the perfect trio of players for any team to win with. First up, the mighty Lord 16-bit, and then the cunning Q, and finally, the goalkeeper, the shield of the game, Seraph, who for whatever reason looks extremely depressed at all times. The ultimate ShoeSphere players, created by a mad scientist from a nation unknown, with only one goal: dominate the sport of ShoeSphere. And that's exactly what we did. But back to the actual review. The levels of customization are great in this game. You can change everything from the look of the players, the stats, what shirt they're wearing, number, goal animations, almost everything you can reasonably think of, as well as the team plays and tactics throughout the game and in between halftime. The level of control you can have over the players in your team in this game is absolutely amazing. It's probably one of the most sim-like sports games I've played in recent memory. And probably my personal favorite thing about PES 2014 are the replay cams. They're always a joy to look at and play around with. Hell, half the time playing this game I was fiddling around with the replay cameras. Not to mention the in-game sound effects are amazing, from the roaring crowds from when you get a goal to the different sounds from different home countries you play in, like the African Cup for example.
Is truly terrific. It's through. Hits the ball. Goal! Egypt!
Even the ball bouncing off the goalpost, the level of detail and the sound effects are pretty great. I've had people walk by as I was playing this and thought I was watching an actual game of Shoe Sphere, so Konami definitely nailed the look, sounds, and feel of the sport, but not enough to hide.
Hits the ball, own goal.
Oh, that is a shame. Sometimes, unfortunately,
Not bad.
it happens, but nobody likes to concede a goal like that.
Probably the worst thing about this game is the tutorial. It's extremely overcomplicated and difficult, and it's intended to try and train you for higher difficulties of the game, which you think would be a good thing, right? Well, it would be if half the instructions made any sense. My first 2 hours with this game was me falling flat on my face in the tutorial and trying to figure out these bloody controls, when in reality, you don't even use half of this stuff. Hell, sometimes the instructions were just wrong. In one example, the game was telling me to hold down a button in order to do the action I needed to do to pass this part of the tutorial. But in reality, all I had to do was simply tap or press the button. So there I am wasting half an hour trying to do this and holding down the button, and kept failing the damn challenge. Screw this tutorial. And probably one of the most annoying things about this game is the random demo match that starts playing while you're in the main menu. I wouldn't mind if it took a few minutes before it started, but holy shit, this thing starts in less than a minute. So if you ever get distracted by a message or something on Twitter, or need to use the bathroom, boom, the random demo match will just instantly start before you even notice. And I probably wouldn't mind this either if it wasn't for the long-ass loading times. So you will constantly be skipping these random demo matches and sitting through another 30-second loading screen to skip back to the main menu, where you'd have to go play your next match, and then you'd have to sit through another 30-second loading screen. Thank God this wasn't around during the PlayStation 1 era of systems, otherwise half the game would be fucking loading screens. Next up, probably something Shoe Sphere fans aren't going to like very much. Most of the teams or clubs or what have you are pretty much made up due to licensing issues from that other game taking up all the licensing. So instead you get teams such as North London. Yeah. But worse yet, I went to go play the American Cup and I figured I'd represent my home and native land of Canada. And guess what? No bloody Canada! Well fine, I don't want to play your dumb sport anyways, I'll go back to my own dumb sport. I also mentioned that the in-game sound effects are great, but what isn't great on the sound side of things is this game's soundtrack. Here, just take a listen. Well, at least this wub 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 music is better than that weird foreign music. Yeah, the music in this game is pretty awful, and it only has a few songs as well, so expect to hear that song a lot. It's like Konami blew their money load on Metal Gear Solid 5's soundtrack and forgot they had to shove out this game this year, and looked up some foreign public domain elevator music and went with that. Not only is the music bad, so is the commentary. It's like they just recorded 2 lines of each type of play and goal, and then made them say every player's name once and called it a day. You'll be hearing a lot of the same lines over and over and over again, and you'll probably want to just turn commentary off altogether.
Oh, lovely feet. Surely a goal. Surely a goal.
Terrific. And that's really just the core problem with this game. It just gets boring and old extremely fast. The repetitive commentary and music doesn't help this fact in the slightest. The game just feels completely soulless. It got to a point where I just turned down my TV and listened to some music or a podcast or something while I recorded footage for this game. But what's never boring is The Ugly, where I discuss graphics! Now, graphically, you can definitely see the Fox engine in full effect in this game when it comes to the animations. Everything from the movement of the players all looks so lifelike and has an amazing attention to detail. To even seeing the blades of grass in the replays, it's amazing what this engine can potentially do for sports games in general. However, as I did mention earlier, the loading times can be pretty long in between matches, and the frame rate is also pretty damn terrible on the PlayStation 3 version of the game, and can drop to almost slideshow levels of performances sometimes. I highly recommend you pick this up on PC. or wait for the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One version of PES, which will most likely be PES 2015. The game also suffers from some clipping issues and the odd bug or two in the animations once in a while, but none of these are game-breaking or anything that'll ruin your experience. Overall, PES 2014 is an okay shoe-sphere game. If you're a sports fan, I'd probably say go with the PC version if you intend on picking this game up, or go with FIFA on the next-gen systems. But to me personally, it's just another average sports game. But at least it looked pretty, and I did have my fun with the character creator and replay cams. Now for my rating. Wait, what? It's not called shoe-sphere? Well, I know they don't like it when you call it soccer, so wait, what's it called then? Football. What? but there already is a sport called football. Terrific.
Strong.